Section 1. Some buyers that are utilizing the FHA financing require Section 1 items to be cleared. Can you explain what Section 1 is to the viewers? Some lenders require Section 1 clearance. Can you explain what Section 1 is to the viewers?
So Section 1 on a termite inspection are going to be things that, like, for example, dry rot, termites, those are all things that are Section 1. I'm not 100% sure because I always screw this up. I believe that water leaks that can cause damage to the home are Section 2. But Section 1 are going to be actual fungus that's growing right now, that dry rot that's damaging right now, and termites, whether or not it be subterranean or beetles or drywoods, something that has to do with termites right now. That's what Section 1 is.
Yeah, Section 1. Some buyers that are utilizing the FHA financing or VA, VA especially, they're super strict, right, Lisa? And they require Section 1 items to be cleared. Can you explain how a home that has Section 1 items, how those items get cleared and how that process works?
Basically, when you hire a pest company to do an inspection on your home, they're going to come in, they're going to look for termites, they're going to look for any kind of wood destroying organisms or insects or anything of that nature. And then they're also going to look for, water leaks, things like that, things that can cause problems later on, right? And I believe there's other things like, for example, like if you have any kind of soil or wood or anything like that up against wood, that would be a Section 2 because that's something that can lead to a Section 1 item. So anyways, after that's done, so for example, let's say you have subterranean termites, or let's say you have some dry rot or some fungus growth underneath a toilet that was leaking, in a bathroom or something of that nature. So usually what happens then is you'll need to have someone that's trained and properly licensed to come in and take care of certain items. Like, for example, you can't just have anybody come in and do a termite treatment. You can't just say, well, I've treated it. I scraped away the termite tubes, so now you can clear it, right? No. So what has to happen is after there's evidence of termites, then it has to be treated, drywood termites, or if it's beetles, then typically those items would need to, the house would need to be tinted because those types of termites are in the wood. Subterranean termites are in the soil, and so the soil can be treated. And again, forgive me if I'm skewing any of this. I'm pretty positive most of this is because I've been in this, these trades for years, and so I've worked around a lot of pest inspectors, and so I'm pretty sure this is mostly all of that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not licensed pest inspector yet.
I am not. Well, I never will be. I'm going to be. My partner Leo, he's our operator. These are just things that I know based on our business and what we've done over the years. So the next thing you have to do is then you have to either get someone else to make these repairs. Let's say there's dry rot, it has to be removed properly, and then in order for that to be signed off by said company, you have to be able to look at what's been done. So they have to open it up. Let's say they say, I need further investigation. You have to open it up. And then the person has to come back and take a look at it and then view it and make sure that everything's been removed properly. And then they have to repair it. And then you have to look at it again to make sure everything's right. But that's why a lot of times it's a lot easier to just have the pest company do it because they're going to sign it all off and they're going to state and license because they're licensed. They're going to say, hey, I did all this properly because I know what I'm doing. I'm licensed. I'm governed by this board. If you have somebody else do it, a lot of times you're going to have the person come back out and they're going to charge a fee because they have to look at it and all this other stuff. A lot of times they still get a lot of these repairs done. They're just on the surface, like, rot on a siding or maybe a barge rafter. That stuff's easy. You don't have to look into it. You don't have to get into it to reinspect that. Right. Or maybe if it's like, fungus in a crawl space, you can have somebody come back and do a reinspection and then look at those items to see if they've been properly corrected. But again, unless you have a licensed pest company give you a tag and say, hey, I've treated this house, you can't sign off on something like that. So after those items are then corrected, then the original inspector will typically come back out, reinspect all the items that can be reinspected as Section 1, and then they will say, okay, well, these items have been completed, and then you have a completed Section 1.
You guys hear that, people? So if you guys are a buyer right now, you guys are utilizing FHA loan or VA, especially VA, be sure to remember that before submitting an offer on a home, if you guys notice any of these items like dry rot, termite tunnels, or anything like that on the home, like just kind of be prepared for all of this because it can be a lot. Like one of my last clients that we had to go through a Section 1 clearance where there was termite tunnels involved. It was a house in Stockton. Man, they had to clear like $10,000 worth of termite damages. Okay, so it can be costly, and I think that's why, as homeowners, if you guys are watching this, it's important to like paint your house pretty often when you notice it needs painting, repair dry rots, things like that. Treat your house, because if the home is older, you're gonna want to treat it and have like a pest control company come out and just spray it every quarter or so. I do it in my house personally, because the moment I stop, my wife notices bugs all of a sudden, so I do it for that purpose. And of course, it's just maintenance, right? And these maintenance items, when you stop doing them, it leads to bigger items being needed in the future. And sometimes that time is when you are about to sell your home. When you're about to sell your home, and the buyer, if you're not doing a pre-listing inspection with Charles and them, and the buyer actually orders one, and now all these items come out, it's gonna be money coming out of your pocket now, or the buyer's cancel. Something to think about. It's super important, but I don't think a lot of people think about it nearly enough. So that's why I wanted Charles to come here, talk about it, give you guys more of his insight on it, and we could talk more about it, because it can be a big deal. With that being said, I think that's a good way to end the show. I'm pretty sure you guys got things to do. You guys take care, Chi Chi fams. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.